Breaking news today. According to Zelensky, the Ukrainian counterattack must be delayed. Western allies have supplied Ukraine with hundreds of tanks, aircraft, munitions, and other types of arms. President Volodymyr Zelensky has told the BBC that Ukraine needs more time before launching a highly anticipated counter-offensive against Russian forces, as the UK prepares to send Storm Shadow missiles to help Kyiv. Ukraine has been preparing a new army and stockpiling weapons from the West, and this decision by Britain will make it the first country to provide long-range missiles to Kyiv. It is unclear when the counteroffensive will begin, but analysts agree that these measures are crucial to reclaiming territory captured by Russia. Zelensky said, "Mentally we're ready," in a BBC interview broadcast on Thursday. "Not all of the necessary tools have arrived. We have enough to move forward and achieve our goals. But a lot of people would die. That's totally unacceptable in my book. Therefore, we must wait." He then added, "We still need a bit more time." Wagner private military company head Yevgeny Prigozhin of Russia called Zelensky dishonest for statements made in an interview. Prigozhin declared that the Ukrainian counteroffensive was in full swing. For months, Kiev has been preparing to retake the eastern regions of Donetsk and Lugansk, as well as the southern regions of Kherson and Zaporizhia. Separately on Thursday, the U.S. envoy to South Africa claimed that despite the country's official stance of neutrality in the Ukraine conflict, it had secretly supplied arms to Russia. In December, a Russian freighter docked at a naval base in Cape Town, and U.S. Ambassador Ruben Brigotti said the U.S. was confident that it had been loaded with weapons and ammunition. "We do not consider this issue resolved, and we would like South Africa to start practicing its non-alignment policy," Brigotti was quoted as saying. The South African government has responded by labeling the ambassador's comments as a counterproductive public posture that undermines the spirit of cooperation between countries, as stated by presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya. Magwenya added that while no proof had been presented so far, the government had promised to launch an investigation headed by a retired judge. British and French forces have successfully used the pledged Storm Shadow missiles in the Gulf, Iraq, and Libya. Ukrainians will be able to better defend themselves from Russia's continued brutality, thanks to the donation of these weapon systems, according to UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace. Oleksiy Reznikov, his Ukrainian counterpart, declared last month that Kyiv's preparations were coming to an end, and that his forces were ready in a global sense. However, he added that the U.S. promised Abrams tanks would not reach Ukraine until the year's end, ruling them out of participation in the offensive. But hundreds of other tanks, aircraft, munitions, and other arms have been sent to Ukraine by its Western allies. German defense officials estimate that Kyiv has received over $150 billion in aid since Russia's invasion began, with $65 billion of that going toward military aid. Ukraine hopes that the success of its counteroffensive will influence the West's willingness to provide future aid. While there have been calls for peace talks with Russia, Zelensky dismissed the idea of land concessions during his interview with the BBC. He questioned why any nation would hand over land to Russian President Vladimir Putin. He warned that Russia was expecting the conflict to remain frozen. However, he stressed that Western sanctions are having an impact on Russia's defense industry. "We can already see that they have cut down on the number of daily shellings in some areas." Senior Ukrainian military officials reported earlier this week that limited counterattacks by Kyiv's forces around the eastern city of Bakhmut had caused Russian forces to pull back from some areas near Bakhmut. Frontline commander Prigozhin conceded that some Ukrainian units were making progress in the battle for Bakhmut. "The Ukrainian army's plan is in action. All the units which have been trained, which have received weapons, tanks, and everything they need are already fully engaged," he said. The Russian Defense Ministry, however, denied Prigozhin's claims late Thursday, stating that reports of breakthroughs around Bakhmut do not correspond to reality. Prigozhin has been at odds with the Russian military for some time now over the supply of ammunition for his troops, and he has threatened to withdraw them from Bakhmut.